IPS+e max+Multi can be used for the fabrication of interior and posterior crowns, veneers with a minimum layer thickness of 1 mm, and hybrid abutment crowns. First, fabricate a model with removable dies. Prepare the dies as usual. The Press-Multi material is particularly suitable for the staining technique. When using this technique, design the restoration with fully anatomical contours. Once it has been pressed, the restoration only needs to be characterized and glazed. Only use organic waxes for modeling, as these waxes burn out cleanly and do not leave any residue in the mold. Use the IPS multi-wax pattern to sprue the wax up for the IPS+e max+Multi investment ring base. Use the green shape A for veneers, crowns, and hybrid abutment crowns. The pink shape B should only be used for delicate crowns on very narrow preparations, like mandibular anterior teeth, for example. The prefabricated precision IPS multi-wax patterns are essential for an impeccable pressing procedure and highly aesthetic results. Apply a small drop of positioning wax to the front of the IPS multi-wax pattern and press it against the wax-up. Vertically align the precision wax pattern with the center of the restoration, irrespective of the size and type of the restoration. Align the longitudinal axes of the wax pattern and the wax-up restoration parallel to each other. Pay attention that the tapered side of the wax pattern is directed towards the occlusal and/or incisal area. Position the IPS multi-wax pattern towards the labial side so that the inflowing ceramic does not hit the die head-on. This ensures that the completed restoration demonstrates the desired shade progression. Seal the gap between the wax-up and the IPS multi-wax pattern with a small amount of modeling wax, only in order to avoid the formation of an overly thick joining area. Take particular care to give the transitions a rounded design so that no sharp investment material edges are produced, which may break when the ceramic flows into the mold. Follow the same procedure when sprueing posterior crowns. Apply a small drop of positioning wax to the IPS multi-wax pattern. Vertically align the precision wax pattern with the center of the wax-up and press it slightly against the restoration. Check the alignment of the IPS multi-wax pattern from occlusal. The imaginary extension points toward the buccal wall. Seal the gap between the wax-up and the IPS multi-wax pattern with a small amount of modeling wax, only in order to avoid the formation of an overly thick joining area. Follow the same procedure for hybrid abutment crowns. Align the wax pattern and press it against the waxed-up restoration. Seal the gap. Use the pink IPS multi-wax pattern shape B to sprue delicate restorations on narrow preparations. The following processing steps apply to all types of restorations. Align the wax pattern and press it against the waxed-up restoration. Seal the gap between the wax-up and make sure that no overly thick joining area results. After attaching the wax pattern to the wax-up, secure the wax-up restoration to the IPS multi-investment ring base. The procedure remains the same, irrespective of the type of wax used. Then, check the position of the attached wax element. Ideally, the imaginary extension of the wax pattern should point towards the labial side. Position the wax up in such a way that the cavity faces upwards and insert the wax pattern into one of the available slots of the investment ring base. Perform the same steps with any additional restorations. Observe the stipulated maximum wax weight of 1 gram. Check the position of the wax-up using the IPS multi-sprue guide. If a restoration is too large, the wax pattern can be shortened by maximum 2 mm. Seal any unused slots in the investment ring base with fitted wax parts. Seal the remaining gap at the investment ring base to prevent the investment material from flowing in. Additionally, completely seal possible gaps between the investment ring base and the wax parts to ensure that the investment ring base can be removed from the set investment material at a later time. If you would like to enlarge the incisal portion, move the object along the investment ring base further downwards. Fit the wax pattern as shown and seal the remaining gap at the investment ring base. Finally, check if all gaps are properly sealed and waxed-up restorations are positioned correctly. Then start investing. Use either IPS Press Vest or IPS Press Vest Speed for the investment. Mix the investment material powder with the required amount of liquid for 20 seconds, using a spatula until the powder is evenly wetted. Then use a vacuum mixing device to mix the investment material according to the respective instructions for use. Carefully apply a small quantity of investment material onto the occlusal surface of the wax-up using a brush to prevent air bubbles. Allow the investment material to flow from the lateral walls into the cavity. Make sure to prevent the formation of air bubbles. Carefully position the IPS silicone ring 200 gram on the investment ring base. Ensure that the ring is flush with the investment ring base. Slowly fill the investment ring with the investment material up to the marking at the silicone ring. Press the IPS investment ring 200 grams onto the silicone ring with a hinged movement. In this process, excess investment material escapes through the opening. Allow the investment ring to set without manipulating it. The setting time is specified in the instructions for use of the investment material. Remove the ring gauge with a turning movement and carefully push the investment ring out of the silicone ring. Remove the IPS+ investment ring base with a turning movement from the investment material. Remove rough spots on the bottom surface of the investment ring with a plaster knife. Make sure that no investment material residue enters the sprues. Preheat the investment ring according to the stipulations of the investment material used. Additionally, observe the operating instructions of the respective preheating furnace with regard to the temperature control. Switch on one of the compatible press furnaces, either the EP3000, EP5000, EP3010, or the EP5010 at an early stage in order to ensure that the self-test and the preheating phase are completed in time. Then, select the IPS+e max+Multi press program. Perform these steps quickly and without any interruptions to prevent the investment ring from cooling. First, place the cold IPS+e max+Multi ingot into the hot investment ring with the imprinted side facing upward. Then, place the cold IPS Multi one-way plunger into the hot investment ring with the chamfered side first. Now, also place the cold IPS Allox plunger into the hot investment ring. Use the investment ring tongs to place the loaded, hot investment ring into the center of the preheated press furnace. Start the IPS+e max+Multi program by pressing the Start key. The press program is automatically performed after the preheating phase has been completed. After completion of the press program, remove the hot investment ring from the furnace using investment ring tongs. Place the investment ring in a place protected from draft and allow it to cool down to room temperature. First, separate the investment ring using a separating disc. This reduces the time of divesting. For this purpose, mark the separating lines at a distance of 30 mm from the bottom. Then, separate the investment ring with a suitable separating disc at the indicated line so that a predetermined breaking point results. Carefully break the investment ring at the predetermined breaking point. Divest the press objects at a pressure of 4 bar using rough polishing beads until they become visible. For fine divestment, thoroughly blast the objects at 2 bar pressure using polishing beads and remove all investment material residue. To remove the reaction layer, immerse the press objects in IPS+e max+Invex liquid for 10 to maximum 30 minutes. Then clean the objects under running water and dry them with a stream of air. Carefully remove the white reaction layer with type 100 aluminum oxide at a maximum pressure of 1 to 2 bar. Separate the sprues with a suitable separating disc. Smooth out the attachment points of the sprues while paying attention to the proximal contacts. Rework the surfaces and design the desired surface structures. Check the fit on the model. Clean the restoration with a steam cleaner to prepare it for characterization and glaze firing and remove any contamination and grease residue. The fluorescent glaze material, IPS+e max Ceram Glaze Fluo, is recommended for glazing pressed full contour restorations. Extrude the ready-made glaze material from the syringe and dilute it with the respective liquid if desired. Apply the glaze in an even coat on the restoration. If desired, you can also characterize the restoration using IPS+e max ceram shades and essences. Perform the characterization and glaze firing cycles in a suitable, calibrated ceramic furnace and according to the stipulated firing parameters.